We get to talk about another game, and a game that I have been absolutely in love with as of lately. It's a game called Turbo Overkill, and actually, I'm doing this a little bit different than I've done the rest of these videos where I beat a game and then talk about it. I haven't even finished this game yet, but it's so amazing that I've just needed to do a video on it, and to actually get this out because I am in love with this fucking game to an insane degree. And if you all don't know, I'm a huge fan of the boomer shooter genre, but I also really like cyberpunk stuff too. And this game merges both of these in like a classic, like almost PS2 style, like graphic setting, and it is just awesome. This game feels so good. It feels so crisp, and everything just is fluid. Every fight you get into just has this uniqueness to it that I really like, and it's its own thing with the like movement abilities, with how the like the enhancements work and stuff like that. It's awesome. If you haven't picked up this game, you are honestly missing out, and I recommend that for anyone that's playing on PC. It's on Steam. I think it's like 15-20, and I have had so much fun. And honestly, I went into this game expecting it to be kind of short, and it's not. It's not at all short. It's pretty damn long, to be completely honest. Especially going for like all the secrets, trying to learn your way ins and outs of fights. You can take fights in like very different and unique ways, and like use the abilities that your character has. It's awesome in every way possible. And surprisingly, for even a boomer shooter, it has a pretty cool story as well. It was something I really liked, was being able to find the, like the data pads and learn more about the character, what's going on in the world, but also like the cutscenes in between missions is really well done, and it actually fulfills a big, vast story within this world. And honestly, like playing through this, all I could sit there and think about was, I'm not only playing this because the gunplay and the movement feel very solid. It very much is like reminiscent of classic Doom and Quake, but it's also just a really cool story with a lot of lore and stuff like that, which to me is the biggest thing. If you make a game like this and it has an actual interesting story that is very well fleshed out, there's like secrets you can find that will talk more about it, and I love that. As I was playing through this game, and like I said, I'm not even done with it yet, so I don't even know what the conclusion is at the end of this game yet. But as I'm playing through it, I'm sitting there like, damn, these characters are really cool. All these different enemies are also kind of interesting of how they've came to be. That's awesome. Their design is unique and actually kind of terrifying. And that's one thing, as I'm playing through this game, I'm like, wow, this is like creepy. Like the enemies look like intimidating, but in a unique way, with this like cyberpunk slash, like, I don't know how else to put it, but it's cyberpunk, but also like very much like a biological kind of like vibe to it. It's very much like set in that kind of tone. It's just like over the top, kind of gross and gore, and it's beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's actually just gorgeous in its own right, while being like disgusting and gritty. As I'm playing through it, I'm like, dude, this looks so fucking cool that I've had to like recommend it to all of my friends because it's just that good. The art style, the direction, the tones, it's all very cool. The one thing I actually loved about this game was like the different AIs and shit. I think it's so fun. And also they do the what I call the BioShock thing, where whenever you go into like a little vending machine, it does like a little voice. It's like a whole little character with it. And I love that. That's one thing I've always loved. And BioShock was like my first introduction to that, of like, oh, these like little vending machines are like their own little characters, and it's kind of sick. And it's really cool, and makes it just like much more interesting to interact with them and like how they talk to you and stuff like that. Of course, you then have like your little AI buddy Sam, who is cool as shit. I fuck with him quite a bit. I think he's pretty sick. He's probably my favorite character in the game. I like it when he talks to Johnny. It's cool. I think it's pretty badass, and I just like this game a lot, honestly. The gunplay is super fun. There's a bunch of different weapons. They have a bunch of different upgrades, and they honestly all feel unique and resourceful in their own way, and I haven't really seen many games actually kind of embellish me as much as this game has, especially when it comes to the boomer shooter genre. I feel like, unfortunately, it's a little bit oversaturated right now, and I don't find many that I really get into. Like Doom and Ultra Kill, really. I feel like a lot of the other ones just don't really match that same mark that games like this do. games that are actually fully fledged out and have a really cool like art style, a cool story, very unique weapons that feel very much like resourceful in their own unique ways, and the way that like as you were playing through, you feel your character getting stronger. And that's one thing that this game really did for me, was you'll start out in an area and you're like, oh man, this is like a little bit difficult, but then as you progress through each chapter, you feel your character become a stronger, more completed version of himself. And you have these really, really fun boss fights that aren't really necessarily the most difficult, but they're actually enjoyable. And I will say, with these boss fights, they are probably actually much more difficult, like a higher. I'm playing on like the third or fourth hardest difficulty, and I don't find a lot of them to be that difficult just due to damage scaling and like some of the abilities you have. But honestly, that's something that makes it really fun too. Is like it makes you. I feel like if you weren't used to boomer shooters, this would be like definitely a struggle a little bit. You'd be like, oh, like how do I go about this fight? But if you've played these games, you kind of know how to go about these fights, and they honestly make it really interesting and just kind of fun all around. There's a lot of variety with enemies. You, in every chapter, are basically getting used to a new set of enemies, or how an enemy will appear, and you kind of get used to fighting them. It just makes it all very, very enjoyable and very, very fun, and it's something that, within playing Turbo Overkill, has kept me interested the entire time. And it's weird. I, play a lot of FPS games. I'm a huge FPS guy. And if you all know, my favorite series is Halo, and this game kind of, is nothing like sort of close to that, but the story-wise and how it keeps me interested, it reminds me a lot of Halo, because like one thing that does always make me come back to certain games is if a game has a enticing story with enticing characters, even characters that you may not directly interact with either. That's one thing about this game that it does a lot. There's a lot of these like side characters you pick up from data pads you don't interact with, but you learn about them and like what they are doing within this world, this cybernetically changed, like dystopian kind of vibe world. It's fucking cool. And I say dystopian because play the game, you'll understand. I don't want to give away too much about some of the things that are going on within like the backs of this story, but it's really, really cool, and it's something that I absolutely love about it. And that's one thing that I know, that like since I have bought this game and since I have been playing it, it will keep me coming back quite often, is because they just managed to find a way to keep this interesting. Also, for my gore fans, because the last video I did like this was for Gears 1, which is a pretty gory game. If you like gore, if you like over-the-top, like, brutality, this game brings it. Okay? Chainsaw leg. That's all I'm gonna say. Chainsaw leg's cool. Listen, I'm here for it. I like a slide mechanic. And this game made the slide mechanic even cooler. They said, yo, but what if he slid with a chainsaw on his leg? And that's just sick. I don't know how else to get that across. Sliding chainsaw leg's badass, okay? That's all I've got to say. I like the sliding chainsaw leg. It makes the fights honestly so much more fun, and the fact that there's like buffs and abilities with it too makes it even cooler, okay? That is just top notch. That's absolute peak. That's heat, brother. I love it so damn much. Also, all the other abilities are cool as shit too. You have the little missile hand thing. That's badass, okay? This game is just over-the-top badassery. You also have this one that like slows down time. It's almost like a Max Payne type vibe, okay? That's awesome. I like bullet time. Bullet time is just badass. It's fucking fun. It's like, oh, look at you, you're slowed down. I'm gonna deal as much damage as I can. Watch this. There's also another one, like a third ability. I haven't unlocked it yet, so I don't necessarily know what it does, so I can't say much in this video. But overall, this game is just full of badassery, and I like that. It's over the top. The explosions are over the top. The overall, like, gunplay is over the top. Like, you were just moving around at light speeds, like bouncing off of walls, using the slide mechanic to gain momentum, and even you can use the chainsaw leg to get health or shields back, or both if you equip those two, and it makes it actually like enticing to use that ability and learn how to like manage fights with it. So you're like, okay, well, I'm killing this guy, but I also have all these adds, and now I can use those to like regain health after a fight, because I can just slide into one-hit them and get all my health back as quickly as I can. It's something that actually makes the gameplay like enticing and makes it more thought out. There were times when I was playing where I was like, shit, I keep dying here because this one big guy that I'm leaving last, instead of like focusing on him and then using the adds on the side that don't do as much damage to regain my health. It's actually really enticing. It makes it actually so much fun to think about how you're going to take fights. And also, this game has one of my favorite things ever, which is secrets. I like secrets in games. okay, when you have a little side objective where it's like, hey, you're in this area, go try to find this little thing, or it's like not really hinted at. It's just like, you know, it's the end. You can collect these little like chips, and you can collect these little fucking cassette tapes. And they unlock if you collect all of them throughout a chapter, you will unlock a secret level. But also the little tech chips allow like almost like cheat codes or like little modifiers for the game that you can equip and not equip. It's actually pretty cool. I really like that small little detail. The bestiary is also something that's really cool. You can learn a lot about the different creatures within the game, and that's actually super, super interesting. It's one thing that I loved doing as I was playing. I would, like, find a new enemy, and then I'd go to the bestiary and, like, read up on it and be like, oh, what is this? This looks cool. And that's honestly one of my favorite things. I like a game that actually has, like, a very detailed descriptor of what you were fighting and kind of gives them their own, like, little lore. Yet again, big thing in this game, lore is cool. Story is cool. It's what is going to keep me entertained, and that's one thing that I will harp on with any of these videos. If you have a cool story and if you have cool lore, I'm going to be involved. That's just what I like. I will say, there are elements of this game that I don't like as much either, though, and I'm not really going to harp on those because I want to talk about what I like. But one thing is the vehicle combat I think is a little weird. I'm not really into it. I'm not a big vehicle combat kind of guy unless it's like Twisted Metal. If you know what that is, then good on you. You've been around long enough. But the vehicle combat in this game is fun. It's enjoyable. It's very, very fast. But I feel like the controls for it are a little off. I don't know why. It just doesn't really stick with me. There's a couple of vehicle combat areas, and it's cool. It's fun. I like the areas a lot. Like, the one thing this game really nails a lot of the time is the set pieces, and it's awesome, especially when you're, like, out in the city. When you're in paradise and you are actually experiencing the world, the set pieces are absolutely extravagant. And it's something that within this game that I need to like harp on a lot is set pieces are something to a game that can make or break them. Bad set pieces can ruin a game's vibe. Great set pieces can make it over the top, and that's one thing that I feel like with Turbo Overkill, it has been set in stone. Like, these set pieces are gorgeous. Even in the graphical style this game is in, they are so fucking cool. I love it. It's like watching or like reading a dystopian book and seeing it visualized in front of you in this absolutely like destroyed beauty way. And it's something that like that's why I'm showing like kind of like mid-game content stuff is because you see the destroyed side of it. At the beginning, you actually kind of see like the normal side of the world a little bit, and it's really, really cool. It's something that like actually stuck with me as I was playing through this game. Was I was like, wow, you actually get to see this world become this destroyed landscape from paradise to hell. It's really, really sick. It's something that I was really enjoying as I was playing. It's like, wow, I'm actually seeing this world evolve as I'm playing through, as these things are happening. I'm watching my character evolve, and I'm learning his backstory from these little data pads, which there's quite a few that involve that. As you play through the game, you actually learn quite a bit about your character from just picking up these little data pads that you will find around the world as you are playing, and I think that's a really, really cool thing. Don't tell me everything about him straight up. Let me figure out what he is. Let me figure out how he has become the character that he is. And to me, that is a huge selling point in this game. And what I did first was I played the demo, and I was like, damn, this gameplay is really cool. The story seems kind of interesting. The world's really, really cool, too. It looks interesting to me. It's like making it's feeling the dopamine, okay? I like a good set of dopamine in a game. And they've managed to keep that dopamine rush the entire time. Even in the points where it's like kind of a little bit slower, you were learning a lot. Oh, yeah, there's the third ability. I forgot that I actually did get it. Yeah, it's a grapple hook. I don't know how I forgot about that. I don't know why I did. I don't read a script for these videos, so I don't really remember everything. I get the gameplay I need, and then we talk, because that's what I like to do. These videos have to be from my heart to you all, because that's what declares the point. But yeah, the grapple hook is fucking sick, too. I like a grapple hook, okay? Listen, you all know me. I play a lot of Halo Infinite. You give me a grapple hook, I'm gonna abuse it because it's kind of sick. Like, I don't know. I fuck with it personally. I'm like, grapple hooks are awesome. Like, look how fast I can move. They've sold me all the way. It's awesome. It's cool. You can use the grapple hook for a bunch of different stuff too. There's abilities for the grapple hook. There's one that sets enemies on fire if you want to do that. It's awesome. I like that a lot. This game goes over the top with your abilities, and you can literally make your character play exactly how you want it to play thanks to those abilities. I like health and I like money. Alright, that's cool. And that's what I use my character for. I use it for health and money. I know I can take the gunfights and be just fine, but the health and money is just kind of selling me. That's just how it fucking goes here. And overall, with this game, I cannot recommend it enough. It's really all. I know this video isn't as much of a sit down and let's talk about feelings, but I had to talk about this fucking game. And I know this one's on the shorter scale, and trust me, I have another one of these videos in the work for a game from my childhood that I cannot wait to talk about. And I know that there's going to be some Epic Games fans out there that are either you're in the know or you're not. And that's all my hint's going to be, okay? You either know or you don't, and I'm completely okay with that. But other than that, thank you all for watching. I know this video is a little bit weird compared to the normal way that I do these videos, and I'm totally fine with it. I just don't want to give away too much on this game because there is a lot with it. And that is one thing that I want you all to experience, but also expect the best, one of the best boomer shooters that you've probably played in recent years to be within this game. I was so happy that I just ran across this from a Twitter ad somehow. Somehow Twitter actually gives me good recommendations for games sometimes, and they did with this one. I'm in love with it. And to the dev who made this, or the dev team that made this, you all have absolutely fucking killed it, and I love this game so damn much. Please make another one. Rather it's another Turbo Overkill game, or do something else, because I feel like you all could probably do no wrong, and I'm all here for it, and I will probably end up playing it, because I have loved this game so damn much. Other than that, though, guys, I am going to hop out of here. I love you all, and I will catch you later.